to make it very easy. So we thought, have you read the bill? We'll read it for you. Now, this could be, it's in legalese, so this could be agonizing. We're going to try to read it as quickly as we can and get through all of it. We're making a little audio book that you can ask the senators in Washington. You can get it. We'll make it for free. I would have them pay for it, but this I do for free because I'm starting to be with you on. I'm against that capitalist system. It's a free market. It's gotten us. What has it gotten us besides the light bulb, the radio, television, trucks, highways, boats, airplanes? Anyway, well, let's not concentrate on that. Let's read the Arizona bill as quickly as we possibly can. Here we go.
On April 23, 2010, Governor Jan Brewer signed Senate Bill 1070 into law. SB 1070 was enacted as law as 2010, Chapter 113. House Bill 2162 made additional changes to laws 2010, Chapter 113. And now, as a public service for the benefit of those who criticize the law without reading it, a full dictation of the law by the Glenn Beck Program.
Here we go. Section 1, intent. The legislature finds that there is a compelling interest in the cooperative enforcement of federal immigration laws throughout all of Arizona. The legislature declares that the intent of this act is to make attrition through enforcement of public policy of all state and local government agencies in Arizona. The provisions of this act are intended to work together to discourage and deter the unlawful entry and presence of aliens and economic activity by persons unlawfully present in the United States.
Section 2, immigration laws, indemnification. No official or agency of this state or county, city, town, or other political subdivision of this state may limit or restrict the enforcement of federal immigration laws to less than the full extent permitted by federal law. Federal law.
Permitted by federal law.
For any lawful stop, detention, or arrest made by a law enforcement official or a law enforcement agency of the state or a law enforcement official or a law enforcement agency of a county, city, town, or other political subdivision of this state in the enforcement of any other law or ordinance of a county, city, or town, or this state.
I hate attorneys!
Reasonable suspicion exists that the person is an alien and is unlawfully present in the United States. A reasonable attempt shall be made, when practicable, to determine the immigration status of the person.
Except if the determination may hinder or obstruct an investigation. Any person who is arrested shall have the person's immigration status determined before the person is released. Whoa. The person's immigration status shall be verified with the federal government pursuant to 8 United States Code, Section 1373C. A law enforcement official or agency of this state or county, city, town, or other political subdivision of the state may not consider race, color, or national origin in implementing the requirements of this subsection, except to the extent permitted by the United States or Arizona Constitution.
A person is presumed not to be an alien who is unlawfully present in the United States if the person provides the law enforcement officer or agency of any of the following.
Listen to what you have to do.
1, a valid Arizona driver's license.
How can you ask someone?
A valid Arizona non-operating identification license. A valid tribal enrollment card or other form of tribal identification. If the entity requires proof of legal presence in the United States before issuance, any valid United States federal, state, or local government issued identification.
If an alien who is unlawfully present in the United States is convicted of a violation or of state or local law on discharge from imprisonment or on the assessment of any monetary obligation that is imposed, the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement or the United States Customs and Border Protection shall be immediately notified. Notwithstanding any other law, a law enforcement agency may securely transport an alien who the agency has received verification is unlawfully present in the United States and who is in the agency's custody to a federal facility in this state or to any other point of transfer into federal custody that is outside the jurisdiction of the law enforcement agency. A law enforcement agency shall obtain judicial authorization before securely transporting an alien who is unlawfully present in the United States to a point of transfer that is outside of this state. In the implementation of this section, an alien's immigration status may be determined by
1. A law enforcement officer who is authorized by the federal government to verify or ascertain an alien's immigration status. 2. The United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement or the United States Customs and Border Protection pursuant to 8 United States Code, Section 1373C.
Looks like federal government employees.
Except as provided in federal law, officials or agencies of the state, counties, cities, towns, or other political subdivisions of the state may not be prohibited or in any way may be restricted from sending, receiving, or maintaining information relating to the immigration status, lawful or unlawful, of any individual or exchanging that information with any other federal, state, or local governmental entity for the following official purposes.
1. Determining eligibility for any public benefit service or license provided by any federal, state, or local or other political subdivision of the state. 2. Verifying any claim of residence or domicile if determination of residence or domicile is required under the laws of this state or a judicial order issued pursuant to a civil or criminal proceeding in this state. 3. If a person is an alien, determining whether the person is in compliance with federal regulation laws prescribed by Title II, Chapter 7 of the Federal Immigration and Nationality Act. 4. Pursuant to 8 United States Code Section 1373 and 8 United States Code Section 1644. This section does not implement, authorize, or establish and shall not be construed to implement, authorize, or establish the Real ID Act of 2005, including the use of a radio frequency identification chip.
A person who is a legal resident of this state may bring an action in Superior Court to challenge any official or agency of this state.
Stop! Read that one again.
All right. A person who is a legal resident of this state may bring an action in Superior Court to challenge any official or agency of this state, or a county, city, town, or other political subdivision of this state that adopts or implements a policy that limits or restricts the enforcement of federal immigration laws, including 8 United States Code sections and blah, 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 to less than the full extent permitted by federal law. If there is a judicial finding that an entity has violated this section, the court shall order that the entity pay a civil penalty of not less than $500 and not more than $5,000 for each day that the policy has remained in effect after the filing of an action pursuant to this subsection. Section 1. A court shall collect the civil penalty prescribed in subsection GH of this section and remit the civil penalty to the state treasurer for deposit in the Gang and Immigration Intelligence Team Enforcement Mission Fund. J. The court may award court costs and reasonable attorney fees to any person or any official or agency of this state or a county, city, town, or other political subdivision of the state that prevails by an adjudication on the merits in a proceeding brought pursuant to this section.
Except in relation to matters in which the officer is adjudged to have acted in bad faith, a law enforcement officer is indemnified by the law enforcement officer's agency against reasonable costs and expenses, including attorney fees incurred by the officer in connection with any action, suit, or proceeding brought against pursuant to this section in which the officer may be a defendant by reason of the officer being or having seen a member of the law enforcement agency, whatever that just meant.
It means that if the officer doesn't have to carry his own legal burden unless he has done something wrong. Unless where does it say?
Unless he's acted in bad faith.
Unless he's acted in bad faith, then you're on your own. That means if you're a good cop, you're covered. If you're a bad cop, you're on your own, dirtbag.
This section shall be implemented in a manner consistent with federal laws regulating immigration, protecting the civil rights of all persons, and respecting the privileges and immunities of United States citizens.
I'm so sorry, China. I'm so sorry. You're such an awful country.
It's a horrible thing.
I'm so sorry.
It's a trend happening in America where we want the federal law followed.
And all civil rights protected. I'm sorry, China. I'm sorry.
Back in just a second.
I love these members that get up and say, read the bill. What good is reading the bill if it's 1,000 pages and you don't have 2 days and 2 lawyers to find out what it means after you read the